Welcome everybody and happy Wednesday. Thank you for being here with us at 1 Million Cups Lincoln. 1 Million Cups is an organization that is here to support our entrepreneurial ecosystem. We do this in so many different ways, but one of the most obvious is we come here every single week at 8:30 to Don't Panic Labs, and we celebrate 1 to 2 entrepreneurs as they tell us about what they've been building. The intent of this is never to criticize, it's always to wrap our community with support and say, what can we do for you to help make your entrepreneurial journey better? So we have a mission statement you can read, but I always like to remember the first time I went to a 1 Million Cups, it was about 15 years ago, and I had launched recently one of my first companies, and I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And I showed up there a little freaked out with a lot of people who looked like they had it figured out, and I was intimidated. But by the end of hearing the entrepreneurial journey of the person who was up on stage, of chatting with people afterwards while I was sipping on some free coffee that I desperately needed, I felt better. I felt excited, I felt encouraged, I felt supported, and I felt like that was something that I was gonna come back to every single Wednesday, and I'm pretty sure as long as I was in town, I did. So again, thank you for being here. Just even by being present and listening to stories, you're supporting our ecosystem. You can see that there's 1 Million Cups all over the Midwest. Started down in Kansas City at the Kauffman Foundation, and it is spread to several different cities throughout our region. If you're traveling, especially if you're there on a work trip or you're there and you're on a vacation, your family doesn't like to wake up early, feel free to travel around and find a 1 Million Cups near you. You can always go to 1millioncups.com to see the full list. Thank you to our amazing sponsors who make this possible week after week after week. We've got the Kauffman Foundation, the founding partner, Lincoln Partnership for Economic Development, Baird Home, who we have to thank for the amazing donuts this morning, Don't Panic Labs, who hosts us every week, Escape Lincoln, Fuse, where you can co-work for free every Wednesday if you attend 1 Million Cups, The Mill for our coffee, Merrill Lynch, and Alloway Stream. This is our organizer team. We get together weekly as well as semi-annually to help plan out what 1 Million Cups Lincoln is going to be. Like I said, we are a part of this entrepreneurial ecosystem, so all of us have a hand in entrepreneurship in one way or another, and a lot of us are entrepreneurs as well. We've got Abby Bartholomew with LPED, Ann McClure with Escape Lincoln, Dane Patton with Bats to Rats, Amy Jurgens with SCC Entrepreneurship Suites, Dow Starita with Merrill Lynch, Dave Verbos with Union Bank and Trust, Lindsay Yardley with Don't Panic Labs, myself, I'm with Olson, and Vaughn Carter with Strat DM. Please check in. I'll leave this up for a minute and chat about it. When I say we're a part of our ecosystem, that also means we track things, because we know if you don't put a metric to something, you don't know how you're doing, don't know how you're starting, don't know where you're going. These scans give the Kauffman Foundation, who does tons of research, tons of grant funding, tons of work for entrepreneurs everywhere, gives them a pulse on how Lincoln's ecosystem is doing. So by scanning in, we're not going to spam you with anything. We'll just tell you when the next 1 Million Cups is and who's speaking. But we are participating in the larger data set of how entrepreneurship in the Midwest is looking right now. We do have open office hours after every 1 Million Cups. So if you have an interest or a question, you're not really sure who to go to in one of these categories, these individuals have agreed to stay after and chat with you for free. We've got Quentin Farley with MBDC. He's an expert in government contracting. We've got Baird Home Law Firm, who, again, brought us our amazing donuts. We have Dow with Merrill Lynch, who can talk to you about financial planning and exit strategies. And we've got, I think that's it for today. I'm looking around. I don't see any of our other open office hours. So if you would like to join the open office hours team, you're welcome to find myself or one of our community organizers and talk about what that looks like. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Amy with Amy Hensley LLC. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Hi, good morning. You guys respond. When I was teaching, it was like, what? So I'm Amy. Great to meet you all. If this is news to you, I'm really sorry about that, but we're all going to die eventually, right? That's news to some people, which shocks me a little bit always, because it's like, really? No one's ever gotten out of here alive. So we are all going to die. Who here today decided what to wear? Did you decide what to wear? Yeah, no one told you what to wear. and you decided how you like your coffee or to not drink coffee. I don't know how I got through nursing school without it, but I drink water and Diet Coke. Also other things, but not at 8:30 in the morning. But when you think about the fact that we're all going to die, and we all like to decide for ourselves what to do every day and what to eat, we should also have a say in how we die. Now, I don't mean like I want to go out by jumping out of an airplane. That's not what I mean. I mean like I want to be comfortable. I want you to give me all the drugs because I am a rule follower by nature. Firstborn daughters do that. So I've never really done any of the drugs. And so when I get to die, I want to be on hospice and I want you to give me all the drugs. Okay? Everybody agree? Everybody says yes. Okay, thank you. Also, I want fuzzy socks on and I want the windows open. Okay? My children know this because we've talked about it incessantly because that's what I do. And I share with my family what I want and what I don't want. Okay? That's important. How many people have ever told their children or their parents or their loved ones what they want? That's amazing, you guys. My work here is done. Okay, for you. For those of you who haven't, 92% of people think it's important to talk about these things with our loved ones, but only 32% have actually done it. Okay, so if your people don't know what you want and what you don't want, how can they give it to you, right? So as a registered nurse, I didn't have much education about death and dying in school. Something that's going to happen to every single human. Didn't learn much about it. I learned all about labor and delivery. Have I delivered babies? Yes, but that's beside the point. But like we have a whole class on that. Something that's going to maybe happen to half the population, I had a whole class on. Very little on death and dying. There are over 6 million nurses with active licenses. We had, on average, less than 15 hours in school about death and dying. And doctors have even less, actually. 71% have said they have had no formal training on death and dying. Again, something that's going to happen to every single human being, and we don't know how to do it. We don't know how to talk about it. Why does this matter? Well, as a hospice nurse, I saw evidence of families who had had the conversation and how much better it was for everyone versus those who had avoided the conversation. You'll figure it out. I made all 9 children equal medical power of attorney. They'll figure it out. I'm not joking. That was one of my families. Yeah. These people couldn't all agree on where to go to dinner. You think they can agree on what to do with mom at end of life? No, they couldn't. They couldn't. So we have a very death-phobic culture, if you didn't know that, right? We hide it. We send it away. We don't talk about it because if we talk about it, it'll happen. I've been talking incessantly about death for several years, and I've never caused anyone's death, I promise, okay? So it's my goal to get us from death-phobic to death-forward. How do I do that? I do that with engaging interactive workshops, because no one wants to just hear a lecture or do another module online. Those are boring. It's just click, read it, listen, click, take a quiz, blah, blah, blah. No one learns anything. I don't learn anything that way. So I have kind of 2 branches to my company. The Sips and Wishes side of things is for the public because people believe that what they see on Grey's Anatomy is real. It's not. It's not. I have never seen a really hunky doctor give mouth to mouth. Sorry to burst your bubble again if that does. So I created a workshop for the public, and we go over different medical interventions because I want you to be educated on what those things are in real life so you are making educated decisions. If you do not know what the side effects are of a feeding tube, how do you know if you want one, if you're ever offered one? Okay? By the way, feeding tubes is my line in the sand. I like to eat, and you cannot mash up a Runza hamburger and cram it into a feeding tube. It doesn't work. So that is my line in the sand, okay? So I do a workshop for the public. We go over different medical interventions. We talk about the importance of medical power of attorney. That is probably the most important piece of the puzzle, is to pick someone who's going to do what you want and then tell them. And then we talk about how to document. Comfort Compass is a little, bless you, is a little piece that that I have that is just personalized support from a nurse advisor. I will not start your IV, I will not administer medications, but if you need to get on a Zoom with your brother who lives in Seattle and your sister who lives in San Antonio and decide what's going on with mom, I will help with that. So that's what Comfort Compass is. The other half is called Before the Casket. That's for healthcare workers because we have a really dark sense of humor and we understand what before the casket means. I don't do funeral planning. I'm everything before the casket. Death Happens Everywhere is a workshop about death and dying. Like I said earlier, nurses did not learn in nursing school what a body looks like. And I'm not just talking the moments before death, I'm talking like the 6 months leading up to death, because there are signs for that, okay? So we learn about some of those practical things in the workshop. We also learn how to have conversations. If you have a patient at 2 in the morning say to you, I don't want to do this anymore, you sometimes just like turn around and like, okay, I'm gonna go get the nurse, and then you realize, oh crap, I am the nurse. How do you respond to that? I didn't know, and that happened to me at 2 in the morning when there was nobody else in the building. So I just sat down next to him and listened. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't learn how. So I give you some tools during the workshop. We also talk about how to manage our own grief and our own feelings around all of this, because if you don't manage that, you leave. You go work at Costco, because you don't have to worry about sitting in your car and crying at the end of a shift when you work at Costco. And if we want nurses, if we want all those 6 million nurses to stay bedside, we gotta learn how to deal with all the junk that goes on inside. So we talk about that during the workshop. And then I also do like 1 hour presentations for conferences, that kind of thing. So the workshop for nurses is accredited for continuing ed because we need 20 hours every 2 years. And this is the year for nurses to do our relicensing thing. So I'm having workshops for all of our nurses. This is the team. I'm Amy. Hi. I also have Hannah and Wendy, who is here taking some pictures for me before she goes to teach one of her classes. She does all kinds of fitness things. They're new, and I'm super excited to have the help and build more, because world domination. Oh, world domination. People say, like, what's your goal? I'm like, world domination. Like, you saw my I want to become death forward. Like, you can't just do that if you stay in Lincoln, okay? It's my hope to do this everywhere, because I want everyone to experience a supported death. I want the public to know what their rights are and be able to advocate and empower themselves. I also want our healthcare workers to support people. I am trying to bridge that gap between clinical skills and human connection. I added this after I sent my preliminary slide deck to the folks here, and they're like, oh, don't forget to ask how people can help. I had already done it, I remembered. So I would like to partner with healthcare organizations. If you know anyone like at Bryan that you could introduce me to, that would be a warm introduction, that I don't have to figure out which gatekeeper to get past, because gatekeepers are really good at their jobs. So if you know anyone in healthcare, in senior living communities that would like to have a conversation about bringing, especially the workshop for nurses, to their facility, because their nurses and their social workers or pastoral care, they all need this. It doesn't matter where in the hospital they work, they need this. Because like I said, we did not learn in nursing school how to do this. And death happens everywhere. The next one, I mean no disrespect by this, but I have so many awesome ideas that I've thought up and that other people have told me that my parking lot for all these cool ideas is full. So if you have another awesome idea, thank you so much, but please don't give me another awesome idea. I only have time and bandwidth for so much. So if you're wondering how to help, I would like to have a warm introduction. That's it. Did I stay under 6 minutes? Yeah.
So you mentioned you don't do like funeral planning, which I get that's a whole other world from where you're at.
Yes.
It's also a very important piece of the whole process.
Very much.
Family.
Yes.
I don't know, how do you have a process to hand it off to someone or something like that so that piece isn't forgotten?
Well, people usually think about that first, because that's where the before the casket part came, is because I would tell people what I do and they're like, I already have my funeral planned. Great, that's awesome, pre-planning. I'm before the casket. So yes, I'll obviously reiterate the importance of anything you can do ahead of time is really, really helpful to those you leave behind. And for everybody who says they'll figure it out, yes, they will, but won't it be better if you don't put that burden on people when they're already in that heightened state of emotions, like I like my kids, I don't want to do that to them. So yes, I mean, I've been in Lincoln for a long time. I also do a lot of things in Omaha and the Omaha Metro. I've gotten connections with people statewide. So yes, I will definitely reiterate anything you can do ahead of time, including that, is important, is really, really helpful to the people that you love. Yeah.
So something that people often overlook before the casket is the inheritance implications.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you make any recommendations in that regard, or do you have any contact with lawyers?
Yeah, yes, and yes. I am a nurse, not a lawyer, and I will say that as many times as I need to, but I also know, again, anything you can do ahead of time is helpful. And so even if you think you don't need an estate plan, you do, because it helps with everything later. No matter what kind of assets you have, if you own a car, anything, you should do the pre-planning, you should meet with people. So yes, I have a lot of lawyers and financial planners that I have met with over the years. So connecting people in that way is great. Connector is one of my top strengths, so I love doing that. So if you are one of those and you want to give me your cards, that'd be great.
We have time for one more question.
Oh boy. I think you had your hand up first. I can talk to you later though and answer your question. Yeah.
Do healthcare workers currently pay for your sessions themselves, and the goal is to have their provider or their organization cover it on their behalf and have corporate sponsorships, or how does the...
That's a great question. I am not a nonprofit. It was easier to do the paperwork to be a for-profit company. Also, there's nothing wrong with making money. That's harder. That was harder for me to say a little while ago, but I'm getting used to that. So because of that, if you host a Sips and Wishes workshop for you and your parents and your grandparents or your kids, then you just pay a per person fee, okay? If you are a nurse attending one of my workshops, you either, depending on how we have it set up, you either pay, when you register, or your healthcare organization can do the whole thing. That's kind of what I'm hoping to get into, that's why I want warm intros, is to have them host. If they're already reimbursing their nurses for their CEUs, let's skip a step. Let's be more efficient, right? I love being efficient on things. So yeah, that's the goal, is to have, like Brian Health, have me in twice a year. Everybody can sign up. If you're a new nurse, hey, we're going to have one in a few months, that kind of thing. So great questions.
Thank you, Amy. And typically I ask one final question of how can we as a community support you, but I'm going to switch it since you answered it.
Yes.
How do you prefer to receive introductions?
Email is the easiest because I do stuff like this. I'm not always at my desk. I can't always take a phone call. So an email is the easiest. My email is, there's not very creative ways to say Amy Hensley. So if you want to find me on any of the socials also, Amy Hensley LLC. That's me.
Perfect. And we have this gift for you, and then
Thank
we'll
you.
stay after to take a picture.
bet.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay, and next up, please help me welcome Terri with ITEX.
Okay, so I'm Terri Smieja. I'm with ITEX. It is a trade and bartering organization. Thanks, Amy. That was awesome. Always willing to learn new things. Well, today you're going to learn a lot. What I do is I'm virtual currency. I've arranged over $94 million of trade transactions between my business owners. This is what I do all day long. I'm a deal maker between businesses so we can save cash. Who could tell me what is the cost of money? Bankers, mortgage people. The current interest rate, that's what money costs you. Okay, so what I set out to do is teach people how to barter, save your cash. I started out because I was a client of ITEX down in San Antonio, Texas, married Air Force, that's how I got here. But I was a single mom, didn't have a lot of cash flow, ran a business, but still with 3 kids, that's a lot of money going out. So I learned how to trade for their braces. I traded for their starter cars. I've traded for so much out there, landscaping, home repairs, etc., that when I moved to Omaha, I opened the franchise here 29 years ago. And what does that mean? We're going to roll through this because there's so much to show. But basically, I traded very successfully, haircuts, pizzas. That building right there, I put cash down on that building to where when I walked in, I didn't know how to fill out the paperwork, but he says, wow, you have a lot of cash. And that all came from cash flow of bartering and keeping your cash. I pay cash for the cars because of the fact that it's about the bottom line on there. So I'm a top award-winning office. Right now, I rank number 2 in the United States. And you'll see my sons are in the business as well because they grew up and they learned the art of bartering from vacations, etc. But over here, I traded for a Corvette. And then my daughter was Miss CoverGirl Nebraska twice and Miss USA CoverGirl once. And so we traded that to parade her around. We just had a fun life. You know, we had a lot of good things because we could do it. Vacations is probably my 3rd largest trade. We trade for all over. United States, Mexico, furthest I've traded for is Paris for one of our CPAs that we got him a place out there. Advertising, or this are entertainment tickets. It makes sense to barter. If you don't sell out at the Omaha Beef game and you still have 200 tickets, why not barter those? And then we turn around and we get the football players pain management. We dry clean the dresses. Here in Lincoln, we have Hangers Dry Cleaner as one of our participating members. But today what I'm looking for is partners. I want to expand into our 4 states. We're all over the United States, but I pretty much am your Midwest trainer. And I'm looking for Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, and Kansas for partners to help build the awareness of cash. I have nothing against banks, but you know what? You're working hard to pay those interest rates. If you could trade for it, then you could have a better life. Over here, it's going to be from empty spots. Educational-wise, you know, you're going to pay for a teacher. The teacher is a flat price. It doesn't cost you any more money to put one more student. So I've traded out. I had one client, we got his daughter a college degree, a 4-year college degree. So there's throughout the United States different barter partners. If you barter locally, you could trade locally, nationally, or internationally, wherever there's a participating barter member. There's currently about 20,000 business participating owners out there, and if you want to know what I made, you want to get with me afterwards. So advertising is my #1 traded item. We trade about $1.5 million a year, and it's basically business owners so they can get more cash customers out there. So this is some of our barter partners from radio, print media, social media, etc. Right here, excess inventory, my favorite thing to do because we're in Nebraska, middle of United States. United States is a landlocked. What that means is we have to go through trucks, so they have warehouses. This is why you see Amazon opened a station. You see, what's that, Dollar Tree opened a distribution center here. And it's because of the fact they have, this way they get the products delivered within 2 days anywhere in the United States on there. But what happens is things go flat. You know, they flatline. Like you'll see Allery Scissors. This is based out of Missouri, but they print a new color or they do something new packaging, so they have to liquidate. And this is where they use ITEX to find other buyers that they normally, Amazon may kick something off of their line, Walmart and eBay. They may kick it out. Diamonds, jewelry, things like that, they have no real resale value. If you paid $10,000 for a diamond, you're lucky if you can get $2,000 cash for it when you go to resell it. When you barter it, it retains its value, $10,000. I can't tell you how many people have come to me. I bartered out diamonds, and then we got their house repaired, you know, from windows to carpet cleaning, plumbing services, etc. So we're just another world. This is one of my sign companies, neon signs for beer signs. So we'll trade those out for, you know, for mainly marketing and training and education. Mink coats, my sons own a mink coat furrier company down in San Antonio, Texas. You can imagine how many people buy mink coats down there. So we'll trade them all over United States on there, but it gives you a great example. Vehicles are the same way. Charities, nonprofit charities, we do about 19 current of these. At the end of the year, we probably get private donations, about $200,000 to these nonprofit organizations because they're looking for, my clients are looking for cash write-offs, and the nonprofits will take it. They have expenses just like any other business. It could be as simple as printing, printed t-shirts, etc. How much time? Okay, so we do a lot of charity work. If you need an item donated for your fundraiser, let me know. I'll help you out there. And then just basically we're a cashless marketplace where we're just trading goods and services. ITEX is a barter bank where it's a clearinghouse. Whatever you traded, it'll go into the bank, and then you can turn around and use it where you need fit. So these are my two sons. I am your broker of the year. For United States, there's my grandsons. He's already entered into it. But they practically have bought up all of Texas. They run the Texas office, 2 in California and 1 in Reno, Nevada. Everything we do is virtual. So it's on the computer, laptops, to the phone, and that's it, really. We're just talking all day long, making deals happen. That's what we do for a living. So that's it. Okay, so any questions? Thanks. Questions?
So can you give me a little bit of detail of how it works? Let's say I want to trade. How's that process?
Okay, let's say you traded off that coffee and you traded off 100 of those, and that's going to be $1,000 is going to go into the barter bank. And then when, let's say you want to go to a chiropractor or a dentist, you can just transfer everything through virtual currency. It's a mobile app, and it goes to the dentist. Or
Send 1,000 coffees to you, and then I will have a $1,000 credit.
correct. Right. Same as cash. If you know how to do cash, this is easy. Okay. Other questions?
Any tax implications on the trade?
We're an $18 billion industry. IRS knows about us. So, yes. So what literally is what you barter is what you need, meaning if you take on $10,000 this year, know where you're going to spend it so you can write it off. So if you're buying marketing, it's a tax write-off. on there. So the goal is to wash it out. And these are not collector dollars. It's a negotiating tool. It's more money over and above your cash money of your business. Okay.
There's no transaction taxes because it's a trade.
Right. I'm a broker. That's how I get paid. I charge a 6% transaction charge.
Other than that,
Yep.
there's no sales tax because it's not a sale.
Sales tax is government money, so if it's sales tax applicable, you need to charge the sales tax. You're the bookkeeper of that money, so you have to turn around and pay, state of Nebraska, whatever you collected. So
you're a two-sided marketplace business.
correct.
And how did you build your two-sided marketplace?
When I came to Omaha,
For this business specifically, how did you build your two-sided marketplace? Maybe you already had it somewhere else and you came to Omaha.
Mm-hmm.
But like, what's the initial story of how you built this business and brought those two-sided marketplaces together?
well, the initial story that got me very excited, I had a $17,000 wedding, and I traded out $15,000 of that wedding. So when I moved to Omaha, there were already ITEX members that existed. The oldest ITEX office in the United States was Grand Island. And so I know, right? Who would know that? But I ended up buying her out and just kind of kept growing it from there. So she already had members. It's always like the chicken or the egg. How did it get started? Well, it started with a loan officer in California when the loans were being called in. He knew all these businesses, and he says, well, you have this, and you have this, and that's why the whole system is designed just like a bank. Yes, sir.
So the example you gave was the coffees, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like real inventory. Did you take the inventory then, or like?
No, I list it. So we have a 7-point marketing tool that we help when something comes in, whether it is a hard good item or it's a service or a marketing program, is I basically list it and then figure out the marketing plan to do that. I'm commissioned only, and I don't take on anything unless I can make a commission on it, but I'm really good at it.
Okay, so with 1,000 copies, it's all sold as a lump? Or do you broker it in pieces?
I do what I have to do to make it happen. So I don't let the customer down. Yes.
So 100 coffees, $1,000. How do you assess the value of the thing that somebody's offering?
It's dollar for dollar. The client already knows the value of his coffee. I just named it that price, but it's whatever you do, the prevailing cash price on there. It's just like a college tuition. If it's $10,000, it's $10,000.
There's people though that overprice the value of the item they have.
Absolutely, but you gotta remember, this is what I tell clients. You're dealing with savvy business owners. They're not stupid. They can Google it, they can research it, they can get quotes. So if you're trying to play that game, you'll be out of the game. You won't get the business. So, but if you call 5 carpet cleaners, you're gonna get 5 different prices. Nobody has the same prices in the cash world, so it's gonna happen in the barter world. And a lot of times I say, well, this guy is the elite Cadillac carpet cleaner. This is the guy you wanna use just for your business to just clean it, because you're gonna have to do it every 2 months. So.
We have time for one more question.
Oh, we got them all. I'll be here afterwards. If you want a business card, ask me some more questions, and ask me what I made.
And for the final question, what can we as a community do for you?
I am looking for business people. I want to look for partners. I'm not getting any younger. I've already raised my boys to have these offices, and so let's teach people how to keep their cash and have a better bottom line.
Okay, thank you, Terri.
Thank you.
All right, so upcoming events for our startup community. We have tomorrow, we've got open coffee at Crescent Moon, 8 to 9 a.m. We always sit kind of right in the middle, right outside of the cash wrap, and we have a lot of really amazing, incredible people that talk about whatever they feel like during that time. I can tell you, I'm there almost every week, and the conversation is new every single week. So come join us tomorrow morning. We also have Founders and Friends. Abby, is that this Friday? Yes. Okay, perfect. Founders and Friends at the Boiler Room, is that correct? From 4 to 6 p.m.? Yes. Come network with entrepreneurs, have a great time, and I think the first round is on Abby, so added benefit. Okay, well with that, we invite you to stick around, grab some more donuts, grab some more coffee, talk to those individuals who are named for open office hours, and have a great rest of your Wednesday. Thank you.